Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are breaking down an incredible blueprint from serial entrepreneur Chris Koerner on how to launch profitable side hustles with just a few $100. I mean, this guy has started over 80 businesses, so he knows a thing or two, and his approach is, well, it's surprisingly simple. Okay, let's jump right in.
So let me just ask you this right off the bat. Imagine I handed you a suitcase with $500 cash inside. What business would you start? I mean, really think about it for a second. Most of us would probably think, well, that's not really enough to do anything serious. But Koerner's whole philosophy is built around turning that exact amount into a real, cash-flowing business.
Now, before we get into any of the specific ideas, the what to do, we have to talk about the foundation. We've got to cover the mindset, because honestly, without this mental shift, none of the tactics or business plans really matter. It's all about learning to think in a totally different way.
And this one idea right here, this is a total game changer. It completely flips conventional wisdom on its head. Think about it. Most of us see a competitor and we get discouraged, right? We think, someone's already doing it. Koerner sees that and thinks, yes, that's proof. Someone else already did the hard work of proving people will pay for this. Your job isn't to invent something from scratch. It's to start where they are today and just do it a little bit differently.
And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. On one side, you've got all those common fears that hold us back. The market is too crowded, I need a totally unique idea, and the big one, what if I fail? But when you look at it through Koerner's lens, it's a completely different game. A crowded market? No, that's validation. Copying? That's not cheating, that's a strategy. And failure? That's just part of the numbers game.
So, what this all really boils down to is building a bias for action. You've got to think of it like a muscle. The more you shrink that gap between having a thought and taking one tiny real-world step, that's a rep. You're making that muscle stronger. And building that muscle is so much more important than sitting around waiting for the one perfect idea to strike you like lightning.
All right, mindset's in place. You ready? Let's open that first suitcase. We're going to see how this way of thinking translates into a real, actual business you could start this week with just $500.
$500. I mean, for perspective, that's less than a new smartphone. But in the world we live in right now, with the tools we all have access to, believe it or not, that is more than enough to get a seriously powerful business off the ground.
So check this out. This chart points to probably the single biggest opportunity out there right now. It's called the AI trust gap. Look at these numbers. A whopping 77% of small business owners know they need to be using AI, but only 5% are actually doing it. Why is that gap so huge? Because they're overwhelmed, they're confused, and they just need a human to guide them. And that's where you can come in.
Now you might be thinking, but wait, I'm not a coder. Well, that's where this concept comes in, vibe coding. It's a term for using AI tools to build things with plain English. You literally just describe what you want, and the AI builds it. That massive technical wall that stopped millions of people from starting a tech business, it's pretty much gone.
So here's the playbook. It's 4 simple steps. 1, you take a little piece of your budget and just spend a weekend learning these vibe coding tools. 2, you create a simple brand, Omaha AI Solutions or whatever. 3, you use the rest of that cash on super targeted local ads. And 4, you offer a dead simple, high-value solution, like an AI voice agent that can answer the phone for a local plumber after hours. That's it. Now, hey, if the whole AI thing isn't your jam, that's totally fine. Here's another killer idea for that $500. Drop servicing. Think of it like this. You create a super professional-looking website for a local service, like premium garage repair. You use your budget on ads to get customers. But when a job comes in, you don't do the work. You just pass it on to a trusted local expert for a fee. You basically become their marketing department, and they just handle the actual work.
Okay, next up. Let's see what happens when we double the budget. We're opening the $1,000 suitcase. And this is where you can really start to tap into local markets in some new ways, both with physical products and digital ones.
$1,000. With this kind of money, you can actually start buying physical assets, or you can buy enough digital attention to really get the ball rolling fast.
So, for example, take the wedding rental business. Over 75% of weddings these days are outdoors, which means there's this huge demand for things that venues just don't provide. We're talking about stuff like decorative arches, custom photo walls, or those trendy charcuterie carts. You can buy or even build one of these with your $1,000 and then rent it out for a huge markup every single weekend.
Or if you'd rather go digital, you could launch a local email newsletter. The math on this is just, it's beautiful.
You can use that $1,000 to run ads and get your first 1,000 local subscribers, usually for about $1 a person. Then you can turn around and charge a local business, like a realtor or a restaurant, $500 a month to sponsor it. You make your entire investment back in just 2 months.
And now, for the final suitcase. This is the big one. This isn't just about a side hustle. This is about building a real, long-term asset. This is where we start talking about the path to creating more passive income.
$5,000. I know what you're thinking. That's not enough to buy a real asset like property. And you know what? Normally, you'd be totally right, unless you know about a certain creative financing technique.
The opportunity Koerner loves is small RV parks. And when you think about it, compared to a single-family rental, it's kind of brilliant. Your risk is distributed across multiple tenants instead of just one, so it can be way more profitable. But, of course, the big question is, how could you possibly buy one with only $5,000?
Well, the answer is something called seller financing. All this means is the owner of the property agrees to act as the bank. You don't go to a traditional lender at all. You just make your monthly payments directly to them. And that $5,000, that's not your down payment. You use that for due diligence, inspections, legal work, to secure the deal. Then you operate the park and pay it off over time with the money it brings in.
So we've looked at ideas for $500, $1,000, $5,000, but the last and maybe the most important piece of this whole puzzle isn't about any of Koerner's ideas. It's actually about yours.
Koerner says the absolute best businesses to start are the ones where you have an unfair advantage. Now, that doesn't mean you're wealthy. It's about what you uniquely have. Do you have some specialized knowledge from an old job? Are you part of a really passionate community like, say, ultra runners or woodworkers? Do you already have an audience online, or maybe just a skill you've been honing for years? The best idea is always at the intersection of what's proven to work and what you specifically bring to the table.
And that brings us right back to the beginning. It's not about finding some brand new revolutionary idea. It's about taking that one curious thought you have, the one that kind of keeps you up at night, and finding the smallest, fastest way to test it out in the real world. Whether it's with $500 or just an hour of your time. The real question is, what's your first small action going to be?